If you're a Raiders fan, then you need to subscribe to the Raiders Report. There's a reason why we are the #1 most watched Raiders channel on YouTube and basically in the entire world. We give you guys free videos every single day. I go live twice a week, once on Tuesday. I'm going to be live for the Raiders and Chargers game as well. And we are an interactive YouTube channel. And the way that this show works, the more subs, the more videos I can do. So if you bleed silver and black and you always want to get that Raiders content, hit that subscribe button underneath the video right now. Raider Nation, what's going on? You guys are watching the Raiders Report, and today's show is presented by Panda Sups. Man, I know the saying, new year, new me, and if you are trying to create a new version of yourself, a better version of yourself, maybe you want to get into better shape, here's the best way to do it. Head on over to pandasups.com. Use code PLAYOFFS where you guys can save 35%. My man Maribot is a big-time Raiders fan, and he's the guy that owns Panda Sups. He's really, really excited about this hopeful playoff push that we're going to make, so he's hooking you guys up with 35% off. Let's get into the latest Raiders news and rumors today, and if you live under a rock, you haven't heard everything going on around Jim Harbaugh. And the latest report around Harbaugh is that he could potentially return to the National Football League. Now, Coward also went on in his show and said that, guess what? He believes that he actually has a chance to leave Michigan. Now, I always went ahead and I went on all these places and I was like, you know what? I don't think that he's actually going to go. And now the more smoke that's happening, I'm starting to wonder if there's some actual fire to this as well. Now, Harbaugh, he was phenomenal with the San Francisco 49ers in 2011 to 2014 with a 44-19-1 overall record. There's not many people that have had the amount of success that Harbaugh has had, not only at the NFL level, but also in college football. Plus, Harbaugh led the 49ers to a Super Bowl. Sure, they lost to his brother, but hey, he still led them to a Super Bowl. Now, here's what Bruce Feldman had to say on Harbaugh, and Feldman's one of these guys where when he says something, I do have to respect it because he doesn't always just throw out trash. I'd always heard from people who know him well that they thought at some point he was going to go back to the NFL. I didn't think he would leave Michigan knowing he never won the game that matters the most against Ohio State, but now he's done that and won the Big Ten. It feels like timing might be right. Now, that's what Bruce Feldman had to say on potentially Jim Harbaugh leaving the Michigan Wolverines and going to the NFL. Now, I have a question for everyone out there that's watching, and I want you to go down to the comments right now and let me know. And I want you to be honest with me. Do you want Jim Harbaugh as the next Raiders head coach? If you're like, you know what? I think that this makes a little bit of sense. I think that he's actually going to leave the NFL, and you're like, you know what? I want him in the silver and black. I want you to go ahead and type H for hire. If you're like, man, I think that he should stay at Michigan. I want the Raiders to go with someone else. I understand that as well. So H for hire, P for pass. Do you want Jim Harbaugh as the next Raiders head coach? All right, guys, so here's why I believe that Harbaugh would end up actually being a pretty good hire from top to bottom. He's an offensive-minded dude, and when I really think about why I would want Harbaugh is I want an offensive-minded coach. I really, truly do. He's had success in the NFL and in college football, as I mentioned before. There's not many guys where no matter what program they go to, you're going to find some success. Now, I know everyone thinks San Diego is this national powerhouse in terms of overall production for college football. However, believe it or not, San Diego, they're not a powerhouse. Now, sure, they were 8-2 before Harbaugh got there. Then they went 7-4, but his final 2 years as the head coach of San Diego, 11-1, 11-1. Last time I checked, that's pretty good. Then he ends up going to Stanford. The year before Stanford, the Cardinals were 1-11. Then it was 4-8, 5-7, 8-5, 12-1. The fact that he was totally able to go from 1-11 to the time he left at 12-1, very impressive. What about the San Francisco 49ers the year before here? 6-10. Then he flipped that script really quick, went to 13-3, 11-4, 12-4, and then sure, his final year at 8-8. But there's a part of me that thinks that they were just trying to get him out the door and they were trying to get some new faces in there. So then he left the San Francisco 49ers, and then he found himself on the Michigan Wolverines where he is now in. I get it. Michigan was just the number 2 overall team. They just lost to Georgia in the game leading up to the national championship game in the college football playoffs. But they were 5-7 before he got there. Then they went 10-3, 10-3, 8-5, 10-3 again in 2018. 9-4, I get it. 2020 was a disaster, but last time I checked, 2020 was a tough year for a lot of people. Went 2-4, and now this season went 12-1, beat Ohio State, and won the Big Ten. All I'm saying is this, wherever Jim Harbaugh has gone, he's had a little bit of success. Now, these are my 2 reasons so far. We're going to keep it going here on why I think Harbaugh would be a good head coach for the Raiders. Then don't worry, I'll tell you some bad reasons as well. Players and coaches respect him. Far too often I hear a lot of times players say, well, actually, you don't know what it's actually like to be in my shoes. Harbaugh not only has been a good coach, he's actually been pretty damn successful as a player as well. Now, here's some of his accolades as a head coach. Big Ten champion this year, AP Coach of the Year this year, NFL Coach of the Year in 2011, Woody Hayes Trophy winner, which is basically best player, I believe, in the Big Ten. That's actually not true. Woody Hayes Trophy in 2010, Pioneer League champion with San Diego in 2005, 2006, and then well, what about some of the stuff he's done as a player? Pro Bowler in 1995, Colts Ring of Honor, NFL Comeback Player of the Year in 1995, Big Ten Player of the Year in 86, First Team All Big Ten in 1986. He was a first-round pick, for the goodness sake. He can coach. He can also relate to players, which is why I really, truly believe he's had a lot of success. Now, I'm going to keep on telling you guys here why he's going to be a good head coach for the Raiders, if he is actually hired. But first, I got to give some love to today's show sponsor, Panda Sups. Remember, use code PLAYOFFS at pandasups.com to get 35% off and free shipping. Some of the products that you see on screen, the Sleepy Formula. If anybody has trouble going to sleep at night, you take a scoop of this and you're going to be knocked out. What about if somebody wants to wake up bright and early in the morning, hit the gym, pre-workout, wakes up your muscles, it's going to wake you up. After you get that sick workout in, take a scoop of BCAAs. Also, if you're a drinker and you like to have a good time on the Raiders Report, take a scoop of that. You're not going to be so damn hungover. The bottom line is this, high-quality supplements and the best tasting protein I've ever had. It's pandasups.com. Make sure that you guys use code PLAYOFFS to get 35% off and free shipping. So players and coaches respect them. That's great. Here's another thing that I think the Raiders need. A hard-working head coach who doesn't take shit. We'd all agree. This year has been an up and down, a little bit of a roller coaster. I want a coach that's not afraid to come in and lay into certain guys. A guy that's not afraid to, you know what, if you're not playing well, you're not going to play. Far too often with this coaching staff, I feel like they just play their favorites instead of playing the best players available. And then the final thing, if he's going to leave Michigan, he is leaving Michigan because he wants to be a Raider. He started off coaching with the Raiders in 2003 as a quarterback coach. He's got great connections, but I really truly believe for him to be the next Raiders head coach, he is leaving Michigan because he wants to be a Raider. Now, why would Jim Harbaugh be a bad hire? Well, I think, honestly, to get him out of Michigan, you probably have to get him a similar contract to what Gruden got. A lot of years, a lot of guaranteed dollars. I don't know if I want that. With all of that being said, that also comes with too much control. I want whoever the Raiders' next head coach is to have control, but not be the final deciding factor on everything. I wanted more of a democracy. I don't want a dictatorship. He can be very old school at times. Last year, remember, nobody wanted him. And now 1 year changes, and now he's back in the helm. And he has struggled in the past winning big games. Has he won the Big Ten this year? Yes. Has he beat Ohio State? Yes. He's really struggled in bowl games. I believe now he's 2-6 all-time, 1-5 all-time against Ohio State. So what I want you guys to do is think about this. If Harbaugh was hired, what would you grade it? A, B, C, D, or F? I want you to go ahead and let me know down in the comments section. If Raiders hire Jim Harbaugh, A, B, C, D, or F? I don't know if you guys watch the show a lot, and for some of you newer viewers, I'm starting to warm up to the idea of the Raiders going out and hiring Harbaugh. To be honest, when I first thought about it, I didn't like it at all, and I said it would have been a bad hire. Now, I'm starting to come around on a little bit more. He was on my initial, list of Raiders head coach candidates, but now he is starting to grow a little bit more. But probably the reason why you guys clicked on this video was well, Mitch, what are the chances that he's going to be the next head coach of the Raiders? I'm glad you asked. So how many no Chucky heads? Wait a minute. Who's doing this? Who's behind the scenes? Harbaugh to the Raiders, 4 Harbaugh heads. No. I appreciate the team behind the scenes doing this to me. You're definitely just trying to trigger me. This one's going to be 2 no Chucky heads, and I'm going to say people are talking. If you see anybody else, Las Vegas Review-Journal, stealing my headlines, stealing my show name, stealing my slogans, please report them because I'm sick and tired of seeing it. Now, here's the thing. I am saying it's a coin flip. I really, truly believe there is some legitimacy to Harbaugh being the next head coach of the Raiders. Right now, the favorites, according to reports, are the Raiders and the Bears. His coaching career, remember, it started back in 2003 as a quarterback coach. Sure, he was drafted by Chicago in round 1 in 1987, but the fact that he's great friends with Mark Davis, the fact that some of these rumors are starting to sprout up, I'm giving it 2 no Chucky heads, and I really, truly believe it's almost a coin flip at this point. But when you really think about the 3 most likely places, the top 2 NFL teams from what I hear, the Raiders, the Bears, or he decides to just stay place and stay in Michigan. Now, obviously, I would be curious to see if he were to come to the Raiders. It would be pretty intriguing to me. But let me know, guys. That's what the Raiders Report's here all about. Type LV if you think he goes to the Raiders. CHI if you think he goes to the Bears because they're firing Nagy. Or type MICH if you think he stays at Michigan. All right, y'all, and we still got some more news and rumors to cover. I saw a really interesting tweet that I want to go ahead and break down, but probably the top thing that I've been getting DM'd on IG and on Twitter has been the latest going on around Nate Hobbs, so let's get into that right now. Nate Hobbs here, let's get into the latest. Is he playing up against the Los Angeles Chargers? I'm actually going to go ahead and give this one 3 no Chucky heads. I'm going to say that it's pretty likely. It's basically a 99% chance. Now, Hobbs was arrested for DUI on Monday. Bisaccia came out and said that he personally expects him to play on Sunday. The reason why it's not 4 no Chucky heads is because if anything happens, if any new evidence comes out, then I don't want to sit here and say I gave it 4 no Chucky heads. Now, I will say this. Hobbs has very good attorneys, and the same attorneys that are working with Henry Ruggs are actually working with Nate Hobbs on this, and his attorneys are saying that he does not qualify for a DUI under Nevada law, something I think about not receiving a breathalyzer in a certain amount of time. The bottom line is this. It's still very, very cloudy, but here's what Bisaccia had to say on Hobbs playing this week. We take the arrest extremely serious organizationally and certainly within our team. Based on what we've learned at this time, we expect Nate to play. It's a legal matter, and other than that, I really have nothing else. We'll leave it at that. And you know what? I'm also going to leave it at that because one of the reasons why I was really frustrated that this happened this week is because the concentration should 100% just be on making the NFL playoffs. So you know what? That's what I'm going to talk about here because the entire Raiders team, through all their ups and downs, the fact that they're still in a playoff hunt deserves a lot of credit. Heck, the Raiders are the first team since the 2000 Lions with 2 head coaches to have 9 wins in a season. So you have the Raiders, you have the Chargers. Winner of this Sunday night football game at Allegiant Stadium ends up making the playoffs. This is where the conversation should have been all week. It should not have been around Nate Hobbs and a DUI. That's why I was so frustrated by the rookie, especially because he's having such a good year. Now, as it stands right now, the Chargers are 3-point favorites. The Raiders 49.5 is the over/under. But guess what? I also know this. Last week, the Raiders were almost 10-point underdogs, and they still were able to win the game. So since I don't want to talk about Hobbs, I want to put the concentration here on our team. Let me know, y'all, down in the comments section who you got. If you're going to type C for the Chargers, you might be on the wrong show. If you're going to go ahead and type R for the Raiders, please let me know down in those comments. And if you want to give me a score prediction, be an overachiever. Who you got? Raiders, Chargers, Sunday Night Football. All right, y'all, remember you can always hit me up on IG at MitchellRents365. I'm starting to post more news, more rumors around the Raiders. I wish I could get more studio time here at Chat Sports, but, you know, we got to share a little bit. So if you guys want to be able to get some more info, get some more stuff, remember, hit me up, slide in my DMs if you have any questions at MitchellRents365. Now, you can also hit me up on Twitter with same handle. And I was on Twitter this morning, and I saw this tweet from Chris Mortensen, who's got, 2.5 million followers. And obviously, got a lot of respect for the man. But he went ahead and said, what Rich Bisaccia has done in his interim head coaching job for the Raiders needs some notice. Everyone knows the circumstances he is in, qualified head coaching candidate for any job, including the Raiders. Just a thought I wanted to share without any influence. So here's my question to all of y'all. The Raiders are 9-7 right now, and should they keep Rich Bisaccia? Not even just saying it depending if they win or if they lose this week, but he has done a phenomenal job, and I agree with everything he said. So type K for keep, or I want you to go ahead and type L for let go. My stance on Bisaccia has remained the same. He's a really, really good dude. But Bisaccia doesn't lay into guys the way that Harbaugh would, for example. And I think if you want to keep him as a special teams coordinator. I have no problem with that. I know the players love him. I know everyone in the locker rooms are always behind him. I know the staff likes him. He's the type of glue that if you're really trying to go in the right direction, I like the idea of you keeping around Bisaccia. But here's the thing. If you're going to give Bisaccia love, you also have to give Gus Bradley a lot of love, because the fact that, think about this, the Raiders defense allowed 6,225 yards in 2020. That was the most in franchise history. Las Vegas this season is 13th in total yards, and every dude that Bradley brought in has been a huge boost to this defense. Denzel Perriman, Yannick Ngakoue, Casey Hayward. Those three guys right now are basically your staples on the defensive side of the football. And sure, I want to give love to Crosby as well, but those three guys were major, players that just stepped up. Heck, even Brandon Faison's been a major dude. So, like, if you're going to give Bisaccia his flowers, you also have to give Gus Bradley his. So the same question remains. Should the Raiders keep Bradley? Type R for retain or type W for let walk? Because depending on who that new head coach is, if you decide to keep Bradley, you decide to keep Bisaccia, I like some of those ideas. Now, sure, it could totally change depending on who that head coach is, but I'll say this. I know there's some people out there that want to bring him on in as a head coach. Gus Bradley is the perfect example of there are some guys meant to be coordinators and some guys meant to be head coaches. I think Bradley is a guy that is meant to be a coordinator, so if you want to keep him, the answer is yes as a DC. Speaking of DC, if you're going to give Bisaccia and if you're going to give Gus Bradley his love, you also have to give Derek Carr his love. The Raiders are 9-7 right now, and I had somebody yell at me on Twitter that was like, man, you're very wishy-washy on Carr. That's not true. I tell it how it is. I give Carr his love when he plays good, and I also give Carr the hate when he doesn't play good. You know why? Because I'm not just a Derek Carr fan. I am a Raiders fan. I support the Shield before everything else, and that's what family does. They're not afraid to call you out. But here's the thing. I know what Marcus Spears said, that Derek Carr's the reason. He's not the only reason they're there, but he deserves a lot of help. You want to talk about up and down? 5 different head coaches since 2014. He lost Aguilar this offseason, lost Ruggs during the season. Darren Waller hasn't been 100% healthy. And all the offensive line issues. All I'm saying is this. If Morton's going to give Bisaccia love, you got to give love to Bradley. You got to give love to Derek Carr. So guess what? Just like I asked you, those other two guys, should the Raiders keep Derek Carr? Y for yes or N for no? I'm going to continue to talk about this topic because when you're the quarterback of a football team, believe it or not, it's a very important thing. So yes or no, should the Raiders keep Derek Carr? My answer continues to remain the same. It depends who you hire as the next head coach. If you're going to bring in a really defensive-minded man like Matt Eberflus, then guess what? I would actually rather keep DC on 19.9. I would actually also potentially keep DC if your decision is to maybe draft somebody like a Matt Corral or maybe like a Malik Willis, Carson Strong, and you let them learn behind DC. If Carr tells me right now I'll play 1 year and then after next year, then I'll worry about a contract extension, then okay. I actually like the idea of keeping DC around 19.9. The reason why I'm not sure is because I really truly believe he's going to want a contract extension. But make no mistake, I support Carr when he plays well. I'm also not afraid to call him out when he doesn't. Now, if you made it this far in the show, all I want you guys to do is type DC. Send me an IG DM that says DC that lets me know that you made it this far in a video. I know it was a long one. I appreciate it. Hope everyone has an amazing weekend. Spam DC in my DMs.